3, 2.
Hey everyone! Hey everyone! Well, hey everyone! How are you doing? Welcome back to the Three Strangers podcast. I'm your host Ryan.
I'm Nick.
I'm Nick. That's Bill. Oops, I
Oh, no, I'm Bill.
We like to watch horror movies together.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Three Strangers podcast. I am your host Ryan,
I'm Bill.
I'm Nick.
and we are finally all back together again.
Oh yeah. Oh, it feels good to have all three of us here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, it's been so long. How did you guys survive? How'd you...
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
been tough.
on. One
We had to hire
episode.
Brianna,
Oh,
Tina.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, all right. I'm back. Like Michael Jordan. I have no rings and no money.
Yeah.
I guess I'm Michael Jordan if I was broke and bad at basketball. Anyway.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, not only do we have Bill back, we also have a guest today.
Yeah.
She is super knowledgeable about horror,
Oh.
with the one exception being that she likes the woman in black. Other than that,
Whoa!
Wow.
Why
Wow,
did you
calling
bring
her
that
out.
up?
Right
I
away.
In
Good.
front of these strangers, you're just gonna say that about me? Oh my god.
whoa.
We'll talk about this another time.
These
I'm a
three
woman.
strangers.
Yeah, these three strangers, they don't understand my take on it, okay?
What are we? Some sort of three strangers?
What are we self-promoting unintentionally? Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great. That's good. Go on. Ryan.
Please welcome our wonderful guest, Savannah.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Savannah.
No problem,
Welcome.
no problem. I think this is the first time I've called someone out, like, during their introduction on the
That was brutal.
Pretty quick to
That was
it.
really mean.
There's some breathing room.
Yeah,
I'm
really
sorry,
trying to make it feel comfortable.
it's become part of a joke with that movie.
Oh,
Mm.
wow. I like that movie. We'll have to. I'll see you in the octagon, buddy. I'll see you in the four corners. All right, man. Dude,
Alright.
I'll fight that battle any day. I'll fight that battle any day. Very affectatious to me at a young age. Maybe it's not hold up so well. We'll talk about it.
I was gonna say, are we gonna have takes on the woman in black quickly? Nick, do you have any thoughts?
It's mid. I like Daniel Radcliffe.
That's fair, actually. I can't lie.
All right.
Yeah.
I liked
Alright.
it. I don't mean mid in a bad way. I feel like it was an average scary horror movie, and it was paranormal. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
6
just
and a
like
half.
it for like the atmospheric take of it. I feel like the
Mm.
vibe is cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
There's one scene that I think about a lot from that movie. I have a fear of dolls. I think we've talked about this maybe a little bit before.
Yes. it's
I
mentioned, yeah.
I don't like the uncanny valley. I don't really like anything like that. There is a scene where Daniel Radcliffe is like holding a candle in a room of dolls, and it's filmed in such a way that the light of the candle appears to be the light of the eyes of the dolls, and that they're following him like with the candle. It's very
You must
interesting.
hate Dead Silence then, huh? You ever seen that?
Horrible. I also really hated. Oh God, guys, what's the one with the life-sized boy? He's running around the house.
The boy?
Is it called The Boy? Is it called The Boy? Is it
The
literally
one
called
with-
The Boy?
Where bro's running through the walls of the house?
Yes. The Boy was very tough for me as well, just because the doll is very. I didn't appreciate it.
You should watch Robert. It's like a worse version of that, and the doll's uglier.
Oh, I've heard of Robert.
Yep, and I have a review of it on the channel.
I am.
Oh yes.
Plugging it.
I'm just adding these really quick to my list of movies I'm not gonna watch. Sorry guys.
So what I'm hearing then is next podcast we 100% have to watch a horror movie that involves dolls.
Yep, dolls only.
Mm.
Don't. Why you gotta do this? Why you gotta do this to me? Whatever. It's all right. Hey, listen. I'm a big boy. Damn. Oh, the boy really was. Oh God. I can't. Man. I tried. I really tried with that movie. Sorry. To get us back on track.
So
Well, without
anyway,
spoiling anything, the movie that we're going to be talking about today is Companion.
Woo.
Yay.
So, Companion was directed by Drew Hancock, who is best known as being a scriptwriter, especially for the movie Fred 3, Camp Fred.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The person who directed it wrote Fred 3, Camp Fred.
and
Wow.
Fred,
Peak
the best of the
cinema,
Freds,
that movie. Yeah.
peak
Mhm.
of the series that I know so well.
Yeah. I prefer the Halloween one, but you know. It-
Good.
Okay, well that's interesting. So we're dealing with like a kind of a nobody director.
yeah, this is his feature debut.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's produced by Zach Kreger, who's best known for Barbarian, directing that movie. Uh,
Interesting. Okay.
and a few other pretty big producers. Roy Lee is another one, and JD Lifshitz as
Hmm.
the other one. Apparently, Zach Kreger was supposed to direct it, but he ended up giving it to Drew Hancock to direct it.
Oh, interesting
Yeah.
how that went down.
It has a very star-studded cast in terms of Sophie Thatcher being the lead of the movie, playing the role of Iris. But we also have Jack Quaid, Lucas
Mhm.
Gage, Rupert Friend, and
Hmm.
Harvey Gillen as another big name. So, without doing any spoilers yet, Savannah, what did you think of Companion?
I think I rated it like a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was really good. Like from start to finish, I think the pace was like perfect the whole time. I don't think there was really any like lag in it or any parts where I wanted it to speed up a bit. Um, yeah, I like I mean, not like mystery at the beginning because, but I don't know. I feel like if you
Hmm.
haven't watched any trailers, it's a better watch, going into
That's
it totally
that,
blind.
that's a
Mhm.
talking piece right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so Tina saw it with me after I already saw it because I wanted to see her reaction because she hadn't seen any of the trailers of it.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
at certain reveals, which we'll talk about in our spoiler section, she let out audible gasps in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm happy for her. Genuinely. That's good. This is a good. This is better for going in blind for sure.
Yeah, like very similar reactions to Barbarian, which I brought her to. She hadn't seen anything about it or anything about it. And do you know the reveals of that movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
God.
Barbarian's very
Uh,
good. Very underrated. Should be talked about more of the modern horror movies, really.
So definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think, Belle?
I remember seeing Barbarian on a complete whim. Like literally, like I was like, I feel like seeing a movie tonight, and I hit up my friend Greg, who you guys remember from college. And he was like,
Mhm.
yeah, let's go like check it out. And then I was like, whoa, that was like really good. That was like a good movie, you know. Um, we did a similar thing with most recent Scream or Saw movie. Sorry, Saw.
Saw X.
Oh, X, yeah. I remember in my head I saw 10. Also good. We just have luck, I
Mhm.
guess. With like those. That might have been the best Saw movie ever, but we can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Whoa.
that's for
Yeah.
another podcast for sure.
I'm gonna go on a limb. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Yeah. We'll talk about that.
All right, but what did you think about Companion?
Oh, what did I think about Companion? Oh! I was like, oh, interesting. Well, yeah. Oh no. Companion is fantastic. Totally worth your watch. I mm, interesting. I gave it a 4 on Letterboxd.
Mm.
there is some things, and we'll get into it. I don't know if you guys know this. I love me a robot movie. Absolutely love it. Ex Machina was one of my top big horror thriller films. Um, God, it's actually hard to know if what you would find Ex Machina as. I always thought of it as a horror, but I guess it's more of a thriller.
Yeah, sci-fi
Yeah,
thriller.
sci-fi thriller. Yeah, no, love me a good robot movie. I was excited for this because I think it's also, we'll get into it. Obviously, I think it has a lot of great themes. Uh, or rather, is bringing attention to certain issues. I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about it. But yeah, no. If this is spoiler free, in this moment, full recommendation. Yeah, definitely go and see it. Worth seeing it on the big screen too. Looked great. Well shot.
Definitely. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I agree with the sentiment of I unfortunately had it spoiled for me by the trailers, and
What?
yeah, I was like in
I
another
was
movie. I forget
confused.
which movie I saw, but it was in the trailers for it, and yeah, I. But other than that, I think that's it's. We'll get to that, but I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a really good. Honestly, a really good addition into this whole AI story this AI horror universe.
Mhm.
Um, even if it didn't do anything revolutionary in the context of AI theories.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. So I loved it when I went and saw it. Uh, I didn't get it spoiled, and I think drawing on what you said, Nick, the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues being the trailer spoiling it, is what you saw was the second trailer for it. The first trailer doesn't spoil anything. And sometimes when a movie gets released, to get people to go and see it, they release a second new trailer that spoils more of the movie to get people that want to go and see it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately for this movie, if you show more of the movie, you're spoiling it. And
Yeah.
audiences going to it then were disappointed because they already knew what the first big twist of the movie is, which we
Yeah.
won't say yet.
Yeah, when I got in there, because I also spoiled from the trailer, and then they kept on like hinting at things, and I was like, oh, this would have been so good if I didn't already know like a month before coming in here what it was gonna be, you know? They did
Yes.
it in such a subtle, good way.
Hmm. And like seeing it the second time and being able to like listen to the exact dialogue that certain characters say, they hide it
Mhm.
so well. And it's just such a disappointment to have it spoiled in the trailer, the big twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird for a movie to have a twist a half hour in, which is usually good. Like that's something that really changes your mind into a movie. When it twists so early on, I think it's what got the recipe of really gripping you. But then to have that be spoiled in a trailer, it is a mark on it. It's a pretty big mark on the engagement of the movie.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
I
agree.
think for me at least, like the major one was spoiled for me, but then I feel like there was like a smaller twist that happened right
Mhm.
after that got the plot going that still kept it interesting enough for me after being spoiled, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
That I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's such a good like little secondary twist that they throw in.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, great performances, I will say, throughout. Um, still, um, yeah, I mean, come on, Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, who portrays I think Jack Quaid as a celebrity doppelganger with Andrew Garfield. another celebrity.
Yeah.
Except Jack Quaid is the misogynist, and Andrew Garfield is the husband of the future.
Yeah, Jack Quaid plays a misogynist really well. Like he is
He does.
so good in this movie, and he has like I saw someone say this. They're like he has such a punchable face.
Does.
Ugh. It was pretty embarrassing. I didn't even know Jack Quaid's name was. So I mean, I was going on a limb. I knew it was Huey from The Boys.
Yeah,
I think that's where
Yeah.
most. Yeah, I think that's where like most people agree. Like that's like his like big break. I didn't know that he was related to the Quaid family. I didn't know anything of that. So forgiving the nepo baby, dumb, forgiving all that. He's really
Yeah.
fantastic in this movie. He plays an evil, evil. Maybe that's a little extreme, but a very unlikable character. Very well. And I mean that's kind of the mark of being a really effective actor, wouldn't you say?
I think on like tier of Nepo baby, he's definitely like closer to the top of being like good.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Same thing with what's her face? Oh God, Margaret Qualley. Margaret Qualley.
Yes,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, same deal. Yeah, I forgive them.
yeah. I'd put Sosie Bacon up there. I'm not a big fan of the first movie, Smile, but I think she's excellent in it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so let's go full spoilers now. So from this point on, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Something else that we're going to talk about. It's already released on digital, so if you want to watch it
Yeah.
at home,
Yeah,
you can.
interesting.
But
What was the
go see it in
decision?
a theater.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
forget what company immediately put it to streaming. Was it Peacock? Was of this like past week it was announced that happened.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks after release, which is another reason why movie theaters are going to fail. You know,
Yeah.
you have to wait usually like 2 months, 3 months. And of course, like I like that I could get it now, but it, you're going to destroy the movie theater business. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
besides, you
That
know,
pushes
Disney putting $300 million projects together.
yeah, and putting them on stream only. But yeah, it not only does it ruin the theater, which is sucks because I think we can all agree, all of us, it's just like it's a different kind of experience that we love and we cherish. But it also puts pressure on movies now. It really because what it means is if you want to be in theaters and you want that stardom, that record-breaking box office releases, you're gonna need a really constant like, okay, there are these movies and then these movies. You're gonna need a new movie like every 2 to 3 weeks if that's gonna become the new standard that they go right to streaming right afterwards. I mean, it's pressure on the movie business and also pressure on the theater business, like the movie theater business, and yeah, it's a little depressing of a thing to have happen.
Yeah, it makes it harder then for more original movies to come out, since studios are then only going to greenlight sequels, prequels to
Mhm.
everything because audiences know this, they're going to go out and see this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, was
You
there
know,
a
but
given reason? Was it just money that got it to streaming?
that I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but I'd assume probably.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't
Um,
know that story. I know it's like kind of developing as we're talking.
yeah, but what I will say is horror has been doing really well recently at the box office. Hard Eyes
Mhm.
is doing really well. Uh, it earned over I think 10 million or 12 million in its second week, uh, which is very rare for a movie to outperform its first week performance. So,
Mhm.
Ooh.
you
Yeah.
know, go support Hard Eyes, directed by Josh Ruben. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, last like 2024, last year, like came out with one of my favorite horror movies of all time now, I would say. Like Heretic was so good. I loved it so much.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
Another Sophie
Yeah.
Thatcher movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. It's true.
Mm.
Yeah, another great movie. But full spoilers for companion, let's start talking about what happens in this movie. So we start off with a young woman in a supermarket. Her name is Iris, and she recalls meeting her boyfriend Josh for the first time, where he goes to flirt with her, and all of the oranges that he puts his hands on falls from the stand that it's on. But she ends up falling for him anyway. Very cute opening. And in this opening, she says that, oh, I don't know how exactly she words it, but basically, she remembers the moment that she fell in love with him and the moment that she killed him.
Oh,
Wow.
I know the exact quote if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hear
There
it.
were 2 times I felt truly happy. The first day I met Josh, and second, the day I killed him, I think was the quote.
Mm. Yeah,
Mm,
and that's how the
perfect.
start of the movie. That is the first thing you hear. No,
Mhm.
is it? Or is it a thing of love? Did you talk about love before that?
I think it was a
She
little
talks a little bit.
monologue, yeah.
Yeah, it's a monologue, and that's the end of the first monologue that you hear before you even get
Mhm.
started. Before you even see them in the supermarket, I think, right? Or is it
No,
after?
that's during when she's in the supermarket. That's what she's thinking in her
Yeah.
head.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and when she says that, Tina looked at me and went, "Huh?"
Oh,
Yeah. Which now that could really set up like that kind of start when you give away the ending. That really sometimes ruins it, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of bold to ruin your movie or to spoil the end of the movie before right in the beginning. Because then you kind of have to like work with like what can become unpredictable towards that. So they're setting themselves up here to emphasize what the plot twist is going to be, or what plot twists have to be, because you already know that a plot twist is not the ending. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I kind of felt like they didn't need to spoil the major plot twist in the trailer since the first trailer already opened with the opening being that she kills him in the end, you know? I felt like
Yeah.
it I don't know, they could have done without it, definitely.
Yeah. I think if there was more secrecy around the movie,
Mhm.
without revealing what the big twists were gonna be, then you could do something like that because then you throw the audience off when, spoiler alert, Iris is a robot.
Right.
And
Yeah.
uh, so then you have that happening, and then you have your other little twist, which we'll talk about when we get there. So now, as an audience, you're not thinking about, oh, she's gonna kill him, or like what's gonna
Mm.
happen. That's already left your mind because you're like, whoa, huh? Beep boop, like one of the most diabolical nicknames ever given to a character.
Pretty tough.
And that would just
Pretty
be like
tough.
right on the nose.
Yeah.
Right on the nose of why it works. Yeah. Um yeah. And so
So,
already it like sets itself up.
mhm. Yeah. So then we already are introduced to our main two characters,
Mm.
Iris and Josh, but they are traveling to a lake house to meet their friends, Kat, who does not like Iris. We find out. Uh, a couple, Eli and Patrick, uh, and Sergey, who it's very unclear the relationship kind of between Kat and Sergey. They mention like girlfriend, wife, all these different things.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of talk about Sergey being shady, that he has his hands in the dirt. He has
Mm.
his hands in a lot of different pots.
Yeah. And he openly admits it too. That he's got a lot of different ways of money.
Hmm. Yeah, he's
Mm.
not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Yeah.
Uh, this is where we start seeing character relationships. We could see that something weird is happening between Josh and Kat. Uh, Maybe Iris is getting a little jealous since they were talking to each other, and of course, like we said, Kat doesn't really like Iris, but she says that she doesn't like the idea of Iris, which I thought the first time when you don't really know what's happening was a very interesting way of putting that. Once we find out later that she's a robot, makes a lot more sense why
Mhm.
she words it that
Mhm.
way.
But
Uh,
again, But again, this is more suspenseful if you have no idea Iris is a robot.
I will say
Exactly.
Then
though,
it's like,
like personally when I was watching it, because I knew that she was a
mm,
robot, and I saw that, like
Mm.
I found myself at times almost like forgetting for a second, because I feel like the acting was so good with like it just felt like a jealous relationship, and like that
yeah.
Kat wanted to be with Josh, and Iris was jealous, and then they would say something like, "Oh, I don't like the idea with her," and then that would pull me back into it. But I think even
Mm,
knowing, like, there were still times where I, like, caught myself forgetting really that she's gonna be revealed to be a robot.
yeah. And that's
Yeah.
aided by the acting, isn't it? Like, just the acting
Definitely.
performances of everybody in general is like, oh man, this is really making you. It's what kind. I feel like the acting is what kind of connects the line of, oh, someday robots could be very human-like.
Mhm.
They did a really nice job of kind of showing that scary potential future.
I mean, do you remember the tweet that came out like 10 years ago where it's like, people will be having sex with robots in the year 2020 something?
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, I think we're a little
I was
far
like,
off.
yeah, sex with robots, yeah.
You know, I wish in some ways, now that we're talking about this, I also knew that she was wrong, right? Um, I wish I didn't. How could you have possibly? No, they revealed that in trailers. They revealed that. I just knew that, guys. I just knew that.
Mm,
I didn't even see a
Mhm.
trailer. I just like knew that. I just like heard about that. Now maybe I'm like robot centric and everything. It would have been nice to see this movie without that. Without that, I think that would have been like, a whoa, you know. What do you guys think about that though? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, think about the marketing of like long legs, how much mystery and
Mhm.
intrigue that had without really giving anything away. I mean, of course, like after seeing long legs, it's fine. It's a fine movie. But
Yeah. This movie was
the
definitely
marketing,
better even being spoiled than Long Legs was.
yes, definitely. But the marketing of long legs had
Mhm.
so many people interested in it, and
Definitely.
it
mhm.
blew up the box office when it came out because people needed to know what happened.
Yeah,
You could
intrigue.
do
Intrigue
something
is
like
so
that for
important.
with this.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Like, I can't remember the
Intrigue.
last time that I got so excited for a movie coming out with the marketing that Longlegs did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you and I were talking about Long Legs for like weeks before we went to go see it because we were so hyped over it.
Mhm. And, like, it's fine. Micah Monroe is amazing as she always is. Uh, Nick Cage is wild,
Yeah.
but it's hard because with Longlegs in that case, so much hype built around it that who knows, maybe with, like, a not great marketing, Longlegs might have been a little bit more enjoyable.
Mhm.
Because the expectation wouldn't have been as high. Whereas with this, it kind of spoils the twist of it, but there's still a lot of enjoyment that you could have, even if you already know what the twist is, being that Iris is a robot.
Mhm,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So the next day, Sergey attempts to sexually assault Iris,
mm.
and Iris defends herself. We don't know fully to the extent of it just yet. All we see is that she pushes him down and he starts bleeding from the back of his head. And then he goes and tries to choke her. Uh,
Mm.
to where we cut to everyone else in the house and Iris walking up, all filled with blood. Like she is drenched
Yeah.
in blood.
It's tough. Yeah.
And
It's
she's panicking. She's trying to explain what happened. Going she's scared, makes sense.
Mhm.
And Josh tells her, Iris, go to sleep. And she
mm,
shuts down.
Yeah. Thereby revealing the first big plot twist that everybody saw, or almost everybody saw coming in the first place.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
yeah.
Tina didn't know, and the gasp that she
Oh,
let out when that happened, she went, like,
Mhm.
She was
I did-
shocked.
So there
I
you
think
go.
it I think it recovered
Weird.
nicely because the next, like, minor twist, like, happened immediately after that I don't think anybody really, like, saw coming, you know? That
Mhm.
he pushed her to it, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Or at least I
mhm.
didn't see that coming.
Yeah, yeah, and I was wondering because there's a couple different plot twists in my opinion, so I was wondering which one you were talking about
Yes.
with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, the motive behind all of this
Mhm.
becomes like it's a little bit of an eat the rich, but also like anti-Russia theme.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm.
Oh, okay. I interpreted this as a feminist piece.
Well, I think
Oh,
that's
it's
it
100%.
also is,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
100% is.
which is why
Okay,
like I think it tackles a lot both.
I did not read that she defeating Sergey is anti-Russian. No, I'm interested to hear more about this. I do kind of understand where you're coming from though. Um, 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 you elaborate on that though, Nick? That's interesting.
I think that was more like Josh's motive though, not like Iris's. Like
Yeah.
Iris's point is the
Oh,
feminist point. Josh was more like, oh, Sergey was the bad guy. He's Russian. He does all of this. That was like that motive, I guess.
To where we find out that Sergey is not a bad guy. He
Yeah.
like he
Well, he's not a great guy, but
he's not
yeah.
great. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he doesn't. When they said gets his hands dirty, he he works with dirt. Like he works in dirt. Like
Yeah.
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 And the money is like the money that they're going after of Sergey is like an inheritance, right? Is that what? There's a reason why he's got so much money, but it's not anything illegal, I think, right?
yeah, that's what they joke. They say, oh, like he was a dirt
Mhm.
like salesman basically, but he did have a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's rich, but it's totally legal.
It's his house. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and I I will say I saw this. Someone when people like describe this movie, someone described it as dipshits trying to create the perfect heist. And it is because once so Josh awakes Iris to kind of talk to her and like say that like what she is. That he wants to at least explain to her what she is before they restart her. Uh which he was not supposed to do to when Kat walks in and she says,
Mm.
"What are you doing talking to your sex bot?"
Mhm.
I like
What
But
did
how
he
he's
say?
here,
like, that's an offensive term too. Like, doesn't he
yeah,
say that a couple
Yeah,
times?
it's a slur. Yeah, it's a slur
Yeah.
for her. Yeah. Right. I mean, very objective. Like, if that kind of starting the. I mean, this is the beginning of it, but like another part of that, like objectification narrative when it comes to misogyny. But
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think it's
I
another
think
question to ask, or it's another question to ask. What is the human element of Iris? But go ahead.
I think it definitely has like a lot of little misogynistic things that kind of like slide by. Like, I don't know, because he didn't have to turn her back on to explain to her. Like, he just wanted to like show her that he's superior to her. Like, it wasn't for her.
Mm,
If it was for
yeah,
her,
mm,
he wouldn't have turned her back on, you know? Like,
mm,
yeah.
mhm,
He
and
needs
like
to be in power.
earlier, yeah, and like earlier in the movie, how the female friend, I forget what her name is, the main uh
Cat.
yes, Cat. How she's like, "Oh, I hate the idea of the bots because it's like taking away women. It makes her feel inferior because she's not as needed." And like I think that's just really the great message of it because yeah, it's all coming for women and like I don't know, closer to the end I think it shows that more how he relies even more on like the man robot to, get
Hmm.
things done and like the woman one. I don't know. I think it has a lot of little messages that mean a lot.
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't even consider that difference between uh what's his name? Is it Teddy? No, Teddy's
Which one?
who's
The
who's
Patrick?
the
Yeah, Patrick.
yeah, Patrick. Um yeah, when I didn't even notice that. I didn't think about that difference, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I
Mm,
didn't even
okay.
really like consider it when I was watching it, but then thinking about it later, I was like, oh, even towards the end, it was like a man getting the job done type of thing, I guess, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we'll talk about later with like when Kat like starts yelling at Josh is like, you know what, I'm gonna
Mhm.
leave because this is getting too much, and she kind of, pokes at his ego and everything,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
he kills her.
And
He has the
yeah,
robot killer.
and there he goes again with like it's all for him because he says that he was helping her out of the relationship, but really he just wanted the benefit of it. Like turning Iris back on to show his superiority. It was never for Kat or Iris. It's all for him at the end of the day, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love his like. I mean, I don't love his speech, what I said, but you know what I'm trying to say, like why his
Yeah.
speech at the end to Iris is so impactful,
Hmm.
because sadly, a lot of people feel that way, that the things that he says, which we'll get to once we get there, because there's a lot to unpack with Josh as a
Yeah.
character.
Oh, definitely.
So we see how Josh and Iris actually met. Uh,
Mm.
Josh in his apartment listening to the song Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Great needle drop there. And we start to hear from the company that Iris comes from about the different settings. You could change her eye color, you could change her hair, you could change her intelligence level, all of these different things. So he gets to build the perfect woman that he sees fit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can I just say that that was like the horror aspect for me when they said change the intelligence level. Oh my
yeah,
God, that like made my stomach drop. Like I hated that.
That
yeah.
was crazy. That was crazy.
And there's
Wow.
a crazy gag with it later on. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, that so offensive in so many ways.
Yeah.
But
Oh, so objectified, so dehumanized, so sexist. Like it really in that single instant it shows so it really encapsulates the embodiment of women. Um
Hmm.
which
mhm,
there's so much.
yeah.
Well, speaking as a dude, Nick,
Yeah,
you know,
I full transparent. I should not be.
I was like,
I'm glad we have a guest today. I'm glad we have a guest
Oh,
today.
thank
this is
you.
very nice, very nice. No, I completely agree. For some reason, like when like because what happens when you take away intelligence? Like you also take away autonomy, right?
Hmm.
That's the whole point. I think this movie is also about like power, you know,
Hmm.
power that you can have over people, or like hypothetically, something that was manufactured, you should have complete power over. One would argue, but this kind of challenges that. You know, when do I mean it's the classic. I don't mean to be like, oh, the classic robot argument. It's like when does intelligence stop being like a collection of parts and start being an entity in of itself, right? Kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Mhm. Yeah,
What do you
so we get to see Josh setting up Iris for the first time. And instantly, right after she says, "Hey you," straight into the bedroom.
say?
Yeah.
Just so uh man, if you don't like Josh yet, just don't worry. You are really not gonna like Josh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not hard to hate him. Um I mean, you quickly in like the first scene driving, you're convinced like, oh, maybe this is love. And then so quickly, it's like, oh, it's just Josh being a dick. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so much um And I would like to think that like his friends are also seeing him that way. Because not only does she represent, not only does Iris represent like the replacement, like Savannah said, but I think it's also Josh, you're a terrible person because of what you're doing.
Mhm.
I think
I
Kat
like
could see
the
that.
yeah, Cat definitely sees that, but I like the scene where we get to see her like being open for the first time, and like you said, how she's like, "Oh, hey, you," and then they're immediately like in the bedroom or whatever. But I think it's like a good callback to earlier when the first night at the vacation house or whatever, when Iris and Josh are together and we see them having sex, and then he immediately tells her just like go to sleep right after,
Yes.
because she's
Mhm.
talking too much for him.
Yeah.
And then it kind of shows that again, literally the first time he gets her, he does her only purpose for him, which is that he can have sex with her.
And we
So,
could even see that he looks down on her by calling her beep boop, and
hmm
she doesn't know that she's a robot.
yeah,
Like even
rubbing it in her
him,
face without her knowing.
yeah, that he sees her as, a robot. Like he does not see her as anything else. It is just
Mhm.
that is Iris beep boop robot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of layers to this movie, but Iris is able to escape, and she takes his Josh's phone and runs away. And I love the little scene of her like running outside, and Patrick and Eli are outside with Eli talking to the cops, and Patrick's like, "Oh
Oh,
baby, she's," and he's like, "Hold on, baby, I'm on the phone with the police."
yeah. That's, that's a really quickly funny moment right there.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
even
Nice
there, we could
foreshadowing.
yes,
Yeah.
and even
Yes.
like there, we could see how different the relationship between Iris and Josh is, and
hmm
between Eli and Patrick. Because spoiler alert,
Mhm.
Patrick is also a robot,
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
and we kind of see that at least from what we see that Eli is a lot better to Patrick than Josh ever is to Iris.
Yeah.
hmm
So
And I mean, wait, what would people? I think there's a lot of things to say there. That's layered there, and I think by perhaps intentional writing as to what it perhaps shows.
mm,
I know that was all very vague. What I just said. Um, but
yeah,
like, yeah, the relationship dynamics being different because I feel like something that this film threads the line of is whether it matters that these are AI.
hmm
Would y'all agree?
Yes. Yep.
yeah,
To elaborate on that?
Um, it's I think there is that cliche message of, well, if they're really intelligent, aren't they
Right.
human? But there's
Right.
also the, well, in a relationship dynamic, is it just two different relationships? You have a very toxic, masculine, overpowering, misogynistic relationship, and you have what kind of appears to be this mutual healthy relationship, where Eli later admits he's falling in love literally with a robot, genuinely and emotionally.
I still kind of got the feeling that like between Eli and Patrick, that it was more like it was less like a robot human relationship and more of like a pet human relationship than like human
Mm,
relationship. Like how he still like didn't respect him. Like even there he was like, "Oh, when we get back home, why don't you go make
oh
me a
yeah, make me
sandwich?"
sound yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
and
that's
and
right.
then
I
Yeah.
we'll
forgot
go
about
have
that one.
sex is what he said. He was like, "Make me something to eat and then we'll do this." So I don't
Yeah.
know, it still felt like a using relationship, still not like he
Yes.
respected him, but definitely respected him on more of a level than like Iris and Josh did. But I think that's still kind of more like men respecting men because you see how Eli looks
Yes.
down on Iris but doesn't look
Yes.
down on Eli as much. So that's how I kind of viewed it as like man power, like more respect for men than women still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so this is where now we start to hear the plan where Josh tells Eli and Patrick what he did. So basically, he jailbroke Iris, uh, and he modified her to increase her aggression level and to disable her inability to do harm in order to kill Sergey, and so that Josh and Kat could steal $12 million from his safe, which one of the funniest running gags being that like Sergey's code for everything is Stalin's birthday.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that is like a joke. I just have like I don't know, I thought it was interesting thinking back on how he says specifically when he modified her that he turned up her self-defense. And I think it's interesting that he didn't just make her more aggressive, he made her a victim. Like they had the plan to make Sergey
Oh.
attack her instead of just making her attack him. They didn't need like a whole like play going on because they didn't think anyone would
Mm.
see it. They just decided to make her a victim for no reason, make Sergey go and assault her, and specifically turned up her self-defense, which I just thought that was like an interesting little bit that he could have just attacked him. They didn't have to make her get hurt in the process, you know?
That is really interesting.
Mhm.
Does that mean, maybe I didn't pick up on this? Was the plan that Sergey was probably going to do something terrible all along to her?
So, I don't I you might not have caught it, but Cat so when they're on the like little beach alcove area by the lake, Sergey
Yeah.
says to Iris that Kat said it was okay for him to be
Mm.
with her. So Kat pushed that on
Oh,
him to go, "Oh,
I
go
did miss
out with
that.
the robot Iris, you know, be with
Yeah,
her. It's
she's
okay,
just a
I don't
sex
mind."
doll anyway.
She's
Like,
just a sex doll, right?
Mm,
So the whole
Mm.
plan was for Iris to get attacked so that she would do this.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I knew the plan was for her to get attacked. I just wasn't sure what. Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
I missed that. Yeah, okay. So that was all planned.
yeah, and even like Savannah says, no one's down there. No one
Right.
would know the difference. You could still say the same thing of, oh, the doll attacked Sergey, because the plan is that they're gonna say that, oh, the doll killed Sergey. We don't know why, like what in her like settings changed.
Right.
So we restarted her.
Yeah.
So they never needed Iris
Yeah.
to get to be attacked by Sergey.
And I
Yeah.
think even like that was like part of like what Kat wanted to make her feel like more in power as a woman, you know, to be like, oh, well, she's just a sex doll, so it doesn't matter, even though they're still kind of in the same boat with like the misogyny, you know. I feel like that was
Mhm.
her like kind of raising herself above the doll, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. And it's sad that she feels like Kat would feel the need to have to
Hmm.
do that.
Right, to prove like her power, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stooping to Josh's level.
Yep.
Who so anyways, in this scene, uh Eli is told that he will get part of the share and they'll split it between Josh, Kat, and Eli, but Eli wants it to be split with
Mhm.
Patrick as well.
Mhm.
And they start arguing, and during this scene, we see Eli go, Patrick, go to sleep. And there we go. There's our second robot. We had
Mhm.
no idea. Although we did hear their story of how they met each other earlier in the movie, which is
mhm.
so funny. And it makes so much sense why the writer of Fred 3 would write it this way. Like it just added up for some reason. It felt
Did you
very
guys
Fred coded.
were you were you surprised by that? I didn't find it much of a twist.
I mean, it isn't. I mean, it isn't a far off thing. Like if there is humanoid robots in this movie, there's got to be
Mhm.
another humanoid robot, right? You know,
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't.
Again, proceeding the problem of revealing in the trailer.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was specifically going to be. That was shocking.
Okay.
I mean, personally, I didn't think about it. I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was like a pretty big twist.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
was the second time that Tina gasped.
Oh,
How many total Tina gasps were there in this movie?
There were 3.
Oh, I'm waiting for number 3. Okay.
Yeah, she let a gasp there when
Okay.
it's revealed. And I thought that was like a very cool way of revealing it because it's very just boom, like it just
it is.
happened. It
It's very
wasn't.
casual. Yeah, it's very. I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah, and
sudden,
the
but not
scene
like a
doesn't
jump
stop.
scare.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
scene
yeah,
doesn't stop.
yeah.
Like with Iris, the scene stops as soon as that happens.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Patrick, the scene keeps on going where he's like, "Dude, what the hell? Why are you why are you saying that in front of Patrick? He doesn't know."
I think that like that's also another good point of like Eli thinking of Patrick as more of like a pet. It's because like Patrick is
Mhm.
even saying that he doesn't need like another share of the money. It's just that Eli wants a bigger share because at the end of the day it would be
Yeah.
Eli's
At the end of the
money,
day,
you
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So and then like when he boots him back up and he's talking to him so softly like, "Oh, let's go do this," you know, like in front of his face.
Mm,
I don't know, it just felt very like
it is very,
human
yeah.
I can
dog
see that now.
relationship, you
Like
know what I mean?
as you're like
Yeah, man.
pointing this out, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Savannah, you said it, and that completely wrecked my entire perception. Because you're right. Like it is just. I totally glossed. I mean, until that scene, I glossed right over the
Mhm.
fact that he's using him for financial gain, and yeah, it is like a pet relationship. Oh wow,
Yeah.
I missed it, and I apologize.
Ah, look at us men not seeing
All right,
Wow!
Ryan,
Wow!
Ryan, shut up.
add it to the
Wow!
controversies, add it to the Wikipedia page.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We're gonna get in
Ryan, I'm trying to
trouble.
take accountability here. Let's let's chill.
I mean, I think it's fair because, like, even when I was just watching it, I was just like, just watching it. I wasn't really thinking about it, but I liked it so
Mhm.
much that days after, I was still, like thinking about it
Thinking
and
about
putting
it,
pieces
yeah.
together. So I feel like they did a good
Mhm.
job of making it more subtle because I do still think, to an extent, they wanted you to think that like Eli and Patrick are more on an equal level, you know. But personally, I
Mhm,
think after
mhm.
looking at it deeper, it's definitely not in any way equal, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and we could see we'll kind of skip ahead now, uh, in the woods, and I wish that we could see Eli's phone because at this part, Iris is on the phone that she stole from Josh, and she's changing her eye color, changing how her voice sounds, everything,
Mhm,
and then
mhm,
she clicks intelligence level, and it's at
mhm.
40%.
Tough.
Mhm.
Tough.
Oh, and I
And she
love
That
goes,
her
"Nice, Josh."
reaction. Yep.
yeah. That really makes me think though that like Patrick's intelligence had to have been like 20%, like way down from Iris, because he's definitely not as
Mm,
like there as she is, which also just adds to
mm,
that relationship that
yeah.
Yeah.
he's
He can
nothing
cook
to
though,
him.
so I don't know
He can
if
cook. I
yeah.
wonder if
Oh,
Is
it's
that like
separate
a
settings,
It's
skill
a
yeah, I was gonna
mode.
maybe.
say,
yeah.
Yeah.
is that can they get like abilities? Like was that his
It's like an
ability?
add-on, like a
Yeah.
subscription he has to
It's like
buy.
The Sims. Yeah.
Good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Expansion pack.
Yeah, he had the Gordon Ramsay expansion pack.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Pretty good. Pretty good. Damn.
Yeah. Mm,
Oh, yeah, so at this point Iris turns up her intelligence to 100% and
yeah.
tries to start thinking, okay, how am I gonna get out of this? Uh, she thinks of a bunch of different ways, but ends up coming upon thinking she's going to go back to Josh's car. She's going to say, "Bring me home," and she is going to go home and get away.
Mhm.
No, not a bad
Which
plan.
honestly, pretty good plan. Yeah, pretty
Mhm.
good plan. Um, she almost gets away with it is a little bit of a stretch for me because
Mm.
we eventually she gets back to the house
Oh,
and
you're skipping a bunch of things.
sorry, you're right. I'm skipping ahead. Skipping ahead. Yeah.
No, you can say what you want to say. I was just saying there's gonna be some other stuff that happens between
There
this.
will be, yeah, and I think it's really fun how her 100% intelligence is someone who graduated from an Ivy League.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's like the 100%, which I think on a real life scale is kind of funny. Because I mean, you could go into well, does that mean all Ivy League grads would know how to get away with murder? like, like is that what we're saying? But anyway,
Yeah, so many different types of intelligence exist too, though.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I don't know. It is like, yeah, and I'm assuming that like 100% intelligent. Yeah, it's really interesting. But you know what? I guess you know, if oh geez, I mean, I guess it really is. I don't want to say it. Really is supposed to be a companion, right? So maybe
Yeah.
if you're an Ivy League graduate, you want somebody that's gonna be able to, I don't know, keep up in conversation with you, even though it's
yeah,
like a terrible
yeah,
term, you know?
Yeah,
yeah,
it's never about actually being smart. They don't
Right.
want them
yeah,
smart.
Yeah.
yeah,
And they even say like, oh, there's laws that they have to follow for the amount of
Mhm.
intelligence that they can have. It,
Yeah.
mhm,
Okay, they clearly don't follow the 3 laws of robotics though. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they definitely don't do that shit.
I like how there's laws about like how smart they can be, but not about like how like dumbed down they can be, like how much of like
Oh,
childlike or like, like just almost being inanimate that, you know.
yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
rules
yeah,
against how violent they can be.
yeah.
Tells
No.
you other things, yeah. Jeez, yeah.
Well, the violence is a mod.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Yeah.
violence is a mod.
It's a mod. Yeah. Did they
Yeah.
ever did they ever state anything about like, I mean, like, not all movie robots have to follow like the 3 laws of robotics. Is that ever that I don't think it's ever really brought up, right? That like it's like, oh
Not.
well, that can't happen because robots can't harm humans, or that can't happen because robots can't stop, can't cause harm to come to somebody through inaction. They can't harm themselves. Like I don't think they ever really lay out any super strong rules for these. I think that's maybe a little disappointing. Um, I do like limitations on robots to see them broken, maybe,
I think the
or
only like limitation here is that she can't lie. Like they can't lie to people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
And
pretty
that's
big
valid.
gonna
limitation.
that's gonna come important later.
Mhm.
That's
Yes. Yeah.
pretty important. Yeah, damn important.
Yeah. So as she's going to try to get to the house, she runs into Eli and Patrick and she hides. And this is where they have their conversation where Patrick admits that he knows that he's a robot. Uh, but he
Mhm.
still loves Eli and will do anything for Eli and tries to explain the feeling of love to him.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
During this, uh, Josh's phone that Iris has starts ringing, and so they know that Iris is there. Uh, and I do love. I saw you put this, Nick, in your letterbox that they shoot the gun, and they acknowledge
Oh
how
my
loud the
god.
gunshot is.
Okay, let's pause on this for this movie about
Whoa.
AI and about social messages and feministic perspectives. That is all great, and I love that. But I need to take a moment to appreciate that it is so rare that someone shoots a gun in a movie and
Mhm.
is scared because of how loud that gun is. That is so that is so
Yeah.
real. I saw it and I was like, "Thank God someone finally acknowledged that if you shoot a gun with no ear protection, it's gonna be really freaking loud."
Mhm.
That's
Sorry.
really funny. Sorry, that's really good. That also reminds me of something else. I don't mind doxing my dad a little bit, but he draws blood as part of the living, like part of his living. He's a phlebotomist, and his big thing in movies and in horror movies as well as like a lot of other movies is that blood has very specific colors when it comes from
Mhm.
specific places, and I'm sure you guys know this. Like blood that is like actively flowing, that it's like a problem, is dark, very dark,
Mhm.
like dark
Mm.
arterial blood. And like he's like blood is always fucking bright red, and in movies, and it's like bullshit.
Mm.
Like it's like that's not
Mm.
true, you know. And I understand it's like visually like interesting and everything like that, but like yeah, no, it has to be like really dark as shit if it's like an active flowing wound, you know. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
no, so maybe we need some truth. Maybe we need some truth in need more of that. But yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
we
like
do.
that.
We do.
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So in this
Um,
scene, oh, you
oh,
go, Sarah.
sorry. I had a point that I wanted to just like mention.
Mhm.
After Patrick tries to describe to Eli like what his love for him feels like, I just thought it was interesting that both of the robots will describe it as like pain to them. Like, I don't know. Like, is that
Yeah.
programmed to like make it hurt them, or like is that just like the only thing that they could describe it as? Because I like personally I wouldn't describe love as like feeling in pain, you know? So I just thought that seems like a robot answer, and I was just curious as to like why it's pain for them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is it like to
Yeah,
stop them feeling that emotion too strongly, or like
Mm.
I think in general, I think love is such a hard emotion to describe that
Mhm.
there's I don't think there is a way to program it in like for a robot to be able to describe perfectly what it is.
Mhm.
And I could also see how like, do you want these robots really being like in love with these people?
Right.
Like, is that their purpose or everything? So maybe that's the only, like you said, the only reason that they feel it as pain because that's the only way that they could describe it.
Mhm.
On the flip side of this coin, um, do you believe that a human being could ever fall in love with something that just I don't know, just kind of naturally has
Not
an
a human.
affection for? Well, I would say it's like you know, I think something that's beautiful about love is that like love is like a choice, you know, and like
Mm.
love is like something that's built and like something that
Mm.
like
Right.
comes from a thing, and that like if something is designed to like quote unquote love you, I know I wouldn't find that satisfying. Maybe other people would.
Mhm.
I
I
think I yeah.
I think that like my perspective on that is, can you love something that's like built for love you without question is again like the pet relationship. An animal is going to love you unconditionally, but you can't love it as like a partner. You know what I mean? Because it
Right.
doesn't challenge you, it doesn't make you grow, it just loves you, you know? So I
Yeah,
don't think
just loves
like
you
a
too.
Mm.
person could totally love like a robot as another human being because it doesn't give you that, not to say like satisfaction, but like, the growth that a relationship will give you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. A healthy, pure love
Mhm.
is mutualism, if we're talking
Right.
ecologically. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. It benefits both. And because something like Iris or Patrick
Mhm.
is so one-sided and just programmed responses on the other side. Yeah, sorry,
Mhm.
did I cut you off, Sven? I'm sorry.
No, no, not at all. Yeah. That was like my thought about it. That was the end.
Yeah. I think something that the way that I perceived this, I think I took this a little differently than you guys. The way that I saw it was they programmed the cliche of when you love somebody, you're accepting the pain that it will be to no longer have that somebody.
Mhm.
Mm,
You know,
Mm.
your love lost equals pain, and I feel like that kind of thing can be I don't know. I'm no AI engineer, but I think that response could be coded in to say, "Oh, well, falling in love is like is like experiencing pain because of, what if I lost you?" That's a cliche description of love that coming from the AI is, stripped of its humanness.
That's a good point, actually. I agree with that now that you're saying it. That's probably what they were going for with it.
Mhm. Man, all this talk of love. This should have been the love cast episode. Maybe.
Wow.
Talk of love.
Mhm. I think
I
the
mean,
release was right before Valentine's Day. It was a couple
it
weeks.
was before Valentine's Day. I know we did discuss it for potentially being the love cast episode, but we need more time to have everyone see it. But no, that honestly, we're like halfway through with the movie, but this is a great discussion, guys. I'm loving this. Ha, see what I did there? All right. So
Wow. You're a genius. You're a genius. He's a genius.
thank you to A. That's why I own the most stake in. I'm just kidding.
That's why you own 34%.
People are not going to believe that like there is no tension between the three of us over the last 2 or 3 episodes.
We've literally made so much jokes that like we're in a massive fight.
And so, I said jokes about why I wasn't here. Then I was like,
Yeah.
I just need a break. I just need a break. Wow. Wow.
Oh
Listen.
my gosh.
You can start. Wow. Powerful. This is powerful. Yeah, can we make Ryan love us? What do we have to do, Ryan? Do we have to increase our
Intelligence?
intelligence? Do we need to decrease our intelligence? Do we need to decrease our what do we need to do here, buddy?
Oh god,
We need to
anything
go
I
on.
say is going straight on
I think we
the
need to lean
the
on. I think we need to go on.
controversies.
We need to go on.
Wow, yeah.
No, all I'll say is I already love you guys, so you don't need to do
Aw,
anything different.
he's
Oh.
cute. Alright,
Mm.
alright.
And that includes
Very
you,
much cute.
Savannah,
Oh, thank
Aw,
you.
and of course Skippy
nice.
as well.
Oh,
So
let's go! This really is the
so
love
much,
cast.
so much love
All
to
right.
spread. All right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Iris shoots Eli.
That's cool. True. Yeah. Hey,
That's
that's
perfect.
true.
Perfect. Yep.
Yep, shoots him. Yeah, it's. I don't want to say it's shocking, but like it's a very good scene. I think you could
Mhm.
expect a little bit more of a struggle, but it's very quick. Uh, it just happens. And again, something that I want to point out is notice how every time that Iris kills someone,
Mhm.
there's a man on top of her.
Mhm. Yes, definitely.
So
Mm.
you have Sergey that she stabs with the knife in his neck. Now she has Eli on top of her, and she ends up getting control of the gun and shooting him. So this is the second time that this image is shown.
Mhm.
You know, so take of it as you will.
I didn't think about it like that, so I'm glad you pointed that out.
That is an
Yeah.
interesting theme. It's a sad. I mean,
Uh,
that's a sad theme. That's an
Mhm.
underlying. There.
mm. So she ends up getting to Josh's car, and she changes her voice to be able to use the voice activation in the car because it only talks to Josh. The voice only activates using Josh's voice. So she has to try to mimic his voice using the voice mod, which is a cool scene. Her trying to do it and Josh trying to break into the car.
Yeah. Yeah, clever,
Oh.
but you would be able to break a car window before that exact voice of
Oh, yeah.
Josh's happens.
I
Yeah.
just remembered because she's back in the car now where we are. But I just remembered that at like the beginning, she says like, "Oh, thank you, Josh's car," because it's like a smart car, And I
Yeah.
just thought that was fun that she says that, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, thank you, Josh's car," like
Yeah, cute
not
little
thinking.
sign there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was nice.
Yeah. And I think I don't quote me on this, but I think the hand that he's using to smash the car window is the one that Iris just closed his fingers on,
Mm-hmm.
which would make it a little bit less powerful. But
Fair.
it's been a little bit long enough for me to
Mhm.
remember that. I could be completely wrong. But she ends up doing it. The car starts driving away. It runs over Josh's foot, which is very funny.
Yeah.
And she's gone. She's on the road. She's vibing, as much as probably you could vibe in this scenario. Josh runs into the house to try to find a phone. because he's going to try to shut down the car and report it stolen so that it can't keep on driving. And that is where he decides, "Ooh, I'm going to get Sergei's phone." And he's like, "Oh, what's the code?" And instantly to looking at the picture of Stalin.
It's quite funny. Yeah, it's like that's fun. And it's it's perfectly makes sense. It's not a far reach. And then he goes, "Oh, yeah, I should look." He goes, Stalin's birthday. I don't fucking know, stop.
Yeah. So very
Yeah.
funny gag there with the
Yeah,
Stalin
it is a gag. It's nice,
callback.
yeah.
But he's able to stop the car. Uh, and he ends up oh, I forget. He calls her right after he stops the car, right? Or does he call her while it's driving or right after he stops it?
I think while it's driving, she gets a
Wow,
call from
yeah.
him.
Okay.
Mhm.
And he's trying to convince her not to go because he loves her and they could just talk about it and everything's going to be so much different. He's going to treat her better and everything.
Mhm.
And he asks her, he says, "Do you love me?" And as we mentioned earlier, the robots can't lie. She says yes, that she still does love him.
Mhm.
But, and I love this, she ends up breaking up with him.
Yes. Which I
It's not,
think, like sorry, I'm cutting you off there, but
no, I'm just saying, she says, "It's not you, it's me."
yeah.
Bit
Yeah.
of a
Mm,
cliche.
I think it's really comical, it's cliche, but it's also there's something just a human, funny I don't know, there's something very human about what happens, that suddenly she's intelligent enough to realize, "No, this is an unhealthy relationship." Um, I mean, obviously, he's the dick, he come on, let's face it, but also, like, to feel the autonomy, feel the independence, the drive for independence, and then hit him with the most cliche breakup line in the books. It's like
mm,
honestly pretty well done. There's like this weird little bit tenderness to it, but a righteous tenderness, if that makes because she's breaking up with it serves him right.
Mhm.
mhm. I also see it as like the fear that um I think there's a lot of fear nowadays because of how crazy people could be. Uh,
Mm.
where her breaking up with him, she's trying to put the blame on her, like, "Oh, it's not you, it's me. This is what
Yeah,
I want," in fear
yeah,
of how he will respond if she says, "No, you're not treating me right. I
yeah,
don't want to be here, like
yeah.
in this relationship anymore."
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it could be, and it is funny because it is a little bit cliche, the line
Mhm.
of that, but I think it also serves like the fear of what's he gonna do? And I love his reaction to like the what? Just a good Jack Quaid acting moment as a little perfect misogynist. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so he reports the car is stolen. The police end up showing up, and she very smartly, because she can't lie, she switches her settings to German. So
Mm.
when the
Can
cop
I?
Mhm.
asks her a question, yeah,
Maybe I'm just like stupid, but I was like, why is he switching it to a different language? And I was like, oh, I'm so like, I thought that was actually like a really smart moment because like I even forgot that like she can't lie, and I was like, why is he doing this? And then I was like, oh no, I'm just an idiot. I'm stupid.
Yeah. And I like that it doesn't totally fool him either. I think if it totally
Mhm.
fooled him, it would have been like, this is dumb. But the fact that like the cop does a very human thing where it's like, okay, no, I'm gonna try to figure this out. I'm not gonna be like, nah, I don't speak this language, blah blah blah. Um,
mm,
it's like a smart move on Iris's part, and then also, again, like kind of it just kind of bringing the reality, creating the reality of the circumstances as it talks about in acting. Like I think it does that really well.
Mhm.
mhm, yeah. And while this is happening, Patrick is holding on to Eli's body, uh, and I love how you mentioned now, like Savannah the pet thing,
Mhm.
because Do you know like how like when an animal like dies, like animals will like stay close to it and not want to leave its side?
Mhm. Yeah.
And we could see Patrick completely like shut down, like will not leave Eli's side, holding on to him.
Yeah, that's exactly
Mm,
what I was thinking watching, like, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty distraught.
yeah. Patrick is very distraught, like completely nonverbal, just
Yeah.
nothingness. Uh, and we could see like this is how like the robots are created to feel this, like that is their person that they were set up with. That is
Yeah.
it. That is
Yeah,
their purpose.
literally their entire world.
Mhm.
Just like a pet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah, exactly.
Patrick gets restarted and
Yeah.
he gets attached to Josh.
Hmm.
And
Crazy.
this was very funny. How they re-show the meetup where uh Patrick accidentally was stepping on a dinosaur tail. That was a costume, and then it was Eli, and then they danced to "Yeah, you my little boo" thing. Except now they
Yeah.
switch it to
Yeah.
Josh being there. And I just
Mm.
want to mention, like Josh, like Jack Quaid, gets so into the dance. Like when you
Yeah.
watch it, he is on beat. He is doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so definitely a lighthearted moment in the
Mhm.
middle of like all this intensity going on, all this shit.
Yeah, very Fred coded. Uh,
Uh,
and so he turns. And I love how you mentioned before, Savannah, the self defense setting, because with uh, Patrick, he turns up his aggression to
Right.
100%.
yeah.
Which is what
Yeah.
they could have just done with Iris,
Mhm.
but they, yeah,
Yeah.
just making her a
Yeah.
victim. And yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, putting more power on like the man robot because like even though he's still a robot, like trusting him to get it done more than
Mhm.
her, I guess.
Mhm.
Like I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think they mentioned something before of like what they set her like self defense or aggression at, like the exact number, to then having Patrick instantly go to 100.
Hmm.
Uh, so of course Patrick sees Iris and the cop, and oh, he messes up the cop.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cop is done for. Uh,
Mhm.
and I just wanted to mention that the oh excuse me, uh, the actor who plays the cop. I'm not sure if you guys ever saw the movie Alone. Uh,
Don't ring a bell.
Sounds familiar.
it's the one about like the woman that gets like
Oh, the deaf woman and her house
no,
is
that's
broken
Hush.
into?
That's Hush.
Oh, that's
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 Hush.
Hush.
Oh,
Hush,
okay.
yeah.
No, it's like one where like she's being followed by a man. Uh,
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah.
yep,
I saw
that's
that.
the man. He's the guy, like the aggressor,
Oh.
and
Mhm.
that. So it's interesting seeing him playing in another film
Hmm.
that has a lot of like feminist like
Yeah.
messaging.
Hmm.
Two different roles. He plays two very different roles. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, just thought I would mention him here. But anyways, uh, he shuts down Iris, Patrick, and brings her back to the house where she is asleep on the couch. And Kat is like, "Listen, I'm Audi 500. Like, I'm I straight up don't want to be here anymore."
Yeah.
So she takes her money and is about to go, and Josh is like, "Wait, no, you do that. Please listen to me." And she tears into him, and that little, his little ego that she just bruised, oh sorry, his
Mm.
big ego that she
Yeah.
bruised just a little bit with what she says.
Mhm.
Instantly Patrick stop her, and Patrick goes up to her and stabs her in the back.
Mm.
Yeah. And I love how like at this point Josh like doesn't even care. That, like
Mm-hmm.
this friend of his that he's had for like however many years just is about to die. He doesn't even care. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just the
Yeah.
what he wants.
And like he even tries to like say something, and Kat says, "No, don't even say anything."
Mhm. Yeah, still trying to like defend himself when he just
Mm-hmm.
caused her murder. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All because of his ego. So
Mhm.
he wakes up Iris and has a massive rant about being a nice guy.
Wow.
This scene I feel like is the most on the nose with everything.
yeah.
It's pretty subtle up to this point. This scene feels
Yeah.
very on the nose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I was like we get
Yeah.
it. Like, yeah, it's a little tough. It's a little tough.
Yeah, and can I say, like, as somebody who's in mental health of us, of the three of us, it's really tough to kind of see these scenes because so much of misogyny is, well, I am the way I am because of the trauma I have faced, and that is why I am. I mean, it's not in these words, but that's why I'm a misogynist, or that's why I feel these things. It's just the way I was raised, or it's just what I went through as a child, or it's just the lack of attention I got, and it to me it's sad that it happens so often. Um, but two, I think it is also why it is so on the nose of what you're saying, Ryan, because like trauma does not excuse misogyny. And this just a visual representation of it. Especially his own little soliloquy of
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a bad guy, I'm a nice guy who's just a little damaged.
Yeah.
I think it's also like built up to the like how you're saying it was more on the nose. It's just built up to it because like he's trying to like quote unquote defend himself this whole
Mm-hmm.
time and now like he has full control to like make her listen to what he's trying to say. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
he
And he
needs to
even
prove to
mentions,
himself. Yeah.
yeah, he even mentions like that he's told her all of this before.
hmm
So this isn't the first time that he's done rants like that. He has done this more than once.
hmm
Oh, they're always squishing the little guy. Ugh.
Mm.
Again, if you don't like Josh, like at this point, you're
I
watching a
mean,
different movie. You're watching Drake and Josh.
if
Like,
you don't like, you're saying if you don't like Josh, if you like Josh at this point,
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well,
Then
if you like
you're
Josh at
watching
this
a different
point,
Josh.
you're yeah. If you like Josh at this point, I think you need to reevaluate and
Yeah.
continue to reevaluate and just continue doing that until you're a different person. Okay, next scene.
Yeah, I think you need to reboot, restart. You know,
Change your
the,
Wi-Fi router.
yeah. So at this point, Iris starts belittling him in the greatest, like, little mini monologue. It just,
Yes.
oh, and like, it's probably so satisfying. Like, I, again, as like a robot with like, what is like Iris feeling at this point? There has to
Mhm.
be satisfaction in everything that she's saying after all she's had to deal with.
But
Yeah.
also, like, from Josh's perspective, like, that's gotta, because he's like putting himself on a pedestal the whole time, and then he's being
Mhm.
told like what a ass he is by someone who literally cannot lie to him. Like, that must
Mhm.
sting so bad because it's
Yeah,
true. Like,
to someone he thinks so little of as well
hmm
that he thinks is beneath him.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
such a great scene. And we see the instant response to this by him instantly decreasing her intelligence to 0%.
hmm
And he forces her to basically set her arm on fire with a candle that's at the table.
Yeah.
After this little thing, he makes a phone call like, "Oh no, robot bad," and then he makes Iris shoot herself in the head. To which, unfortunately, she does because she has to listen to the commands.
Mhm. But there's like a little like she tries not to almost,
Mhm.
with that
Yeah,
scene with the gun.
yeah, the little teardrop, and she says no, like a
Mhm.
little no, and then yeah, very like at this point, this was the third gasp from Tina.
Mhm.
Uh, I think
Mm.
she thought the movie was gonna end here,
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
which would be a very like depressing ending. Like that
Oh,
would,
yeah, that would be depressing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you knew he had to die. You knew not Pat. You
Josh.
knew Josh had to die.
Hmm.
And I think that was like and you know what? Perhaps that's the justification, is knowing that Pat's going to die is what
Josh.
keeps you. Oh my God, why do I keep saying that? Why when Josh is going to die, um, keeps you locked in.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's almost too emotional to bear. Too too much sting, too much misogyny, too much similarity to things that have happened so many times before.
Mhm. Yeah. So the kind of speed things up a little bit, uh, empathics, who are the people that take care of the robots, service them, all of that, they come to see what's wrong with Iris, and this is where they tell Josh that, oh well, her head is only her Wi-Fi capabilities. The real information, like recordings that they store to see what's wrong with the robot that they could watch, is all
Mhm.
stored in the abdomen.
Mm.
Mhm.
And I love how they mention you would have known this if you've read through our agreement, which we
Yeah,
see
you did
earlier in the
read that,
movie,
right?
that he sped through it and did not read it.
Yeah.
Uh, so because of this, Josh tells Patrick to kill the workers and to get Iris so that, of course, he could destroy the abdomen. He's able to kill one of them, but before he can kill Teddy, Iris is rebooted and is able to talk to Patrick and convince him that he loves Eli. And this was going to be where I had a problem with it the first time I watched it, because with the reboot, like the system restarted, he probably shouldn't have
Mhm.
any memories of Eli.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
It breaks
earlier
its
in the
logic
movie,
there.
yes,
Yeah.
but earlier in the movie on the second watch, they mentioned multiple times that Eli could have brought Patrick in for an upgrade or like gotten a more updated version of the robot.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's their
So,
justification as to why he's not as.
yes,
Mhm.
as a way of like being like, oh, he could be buggy because it's not the most recent uh version.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. I was like, okay, I can let that slide like that. You know what? This does not make the movie worse for me. This doesn't change anything.
Yeah. I think it's in the logic of the movie. It makes sense.
Mm,
They they
yeah,
they 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 banded it up a little bit.
yeah. So heartbroken, Patrick ends up killing himself with an electric prod.
Mm.
Uh, at this point, Teddy, who's the worker who has survived, uh, basically gives Iris freedom over everything. She can now lie, which we know.
Mhm.
She can now just change her voice on command. She could do anything without the use of a phone.
Mhm.
Uh, and she goes to Josh, which kind of ensues our final little fight where, we get to hear more of Josh being the misogynist that he is, and
Mhm.
Again, if you like Josh, there is an issue. There is a massive, massive issue. There was a disconnect somewhere.
Mm.
You need to get your Wi-Fi capabilities back on. But
Yeah.
Iris is able to kill him. I love how right before she does, she says, "Josh, go to sleep," and
Yeah.
she sticks a
Mhm.
corkscrew that we've seen throughout the entire movie that I was waiting
Yes.
for.
Yeah,
Me
what was
Yeah.
that
too.
gonna be? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and if you notice in the shot where she's on the ground and she tries to reach for the knife, I think it was a knife at first, and Josh pulls her away. If you look in the background, you could see the corkscrew thing next to her.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. So they place it. It's not out of nowhere.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
saw a few people say like, "Oh, how did she get that? Where was it?" It's there. It's in the shot. You can see it.
Mhm.
Yep. So she kills Josh, and the next morning she takes the money. She peels off the burnt skin from her hand, showing like the metal, and she takes a really nice car. The car is very nice. I was like, okay, Sophie Thatcher, go off. Uh, and that's the end of our movie. But we have a little tiny mid-credit scene
Mhm.
where we see her go past a couple, and she waves with her robotic hand.
Mhm.
But it's the same model as her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one in the car,
it's also a companion.
How do we know
the woman in the car is
that?
another robot, the same version as her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to know? Was there an indication that I just like missed the first watch?
Oh, it was Sophie Thatcher that
Yeah,
was her in the other car,
Oh,
yeah.
was
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, buddy.
Oh
And the
boy.
other one doesn't know that she's a robot. That's why
Oh,
she's
yeah,
this is
like,
gonna
Yeah.
be.
oh,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
just like Sophie Thatcher with like blonde hair, I think she
Which isn't
had.
totally
Yeah.
Like,
up. It was blonde. It was a different colored hair.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just had blonde hair, like her, like he changed how she looked, but it was like supposed to be the same
Mhm.
model as Iris,
Mhm.
hmm
letting her know basically that she's a robot. Because the woman looked at Iris and obviously knows that she looks exactly like her, you know?
yeah,
Mhm.
Right,
Mhm.
right, right, right.
And then the robot hand is like, oh.
Hmm.
yeah. And it kind of suggests that there could be a sequel.
Yeah.
It does because it suggests there are many more out there,
hmm
and I could see a sequel happening. I mean, they grossed. They brought back 20 million, 23 million.
Yeah, and it's still, they could
Wow.
still make more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's companion, and also I want to mention the needle drop of emotion at the end by Samantha
Mhm.
Sang and the Bee Gees. Amazing song, such a good
Yeah.
song choice.
Mm-hmm. Very cheeky song choices.
Yeah, great songs throughout the entire movie. It has a very good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Maybe with the exception of "You My Little Boo Thing."
Yeah, that was random. That does feel out of
That,
place.
that was tough. That was tough. You could tell
Yeah.
like they inserted that into the movie at a time when maybe that song was blowing up or something, you know? Or it was like a little viral. Or
Yeah.
somebody thought it would be very viral. Yeah, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think it fits the vibe of that scene though, like just how like
Yeah.
kind of crazy it's supposed to be. Just like yeah, throw in that song. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a few seconds to think. But my question is going to be one sentence to describe this movie.
One sentence?
One
Do we have a
sentence. I'll
word?
give you
Do
one
we have a word?
sentence.
Do we have a word cap?
No
No.
word cap. No word cap this week.
Oh.
Yeah,
All
like
right.
let's not do no run-on sentences.
I
We could do better than that.
I have mine and I have a reason behind it.
Ooh, all
Go
right.
for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say it's more like something that I didn't point out, but I would say old-fashioned misogyny because if you noticed that in like the meet cute between Josh and Iris, it feels very like an old-timey store. She's in like a more like old money type of outfit, like she's,
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit back in time. And then at the end, when we see the other Iris robot, it's like an older style car with an older guy, and she's dressed like with a little bandana over her head and like, like
Hmm.
glasses and like a, polka dotty outfit. So I feel like they kind of played on like, because even though it took place in modern day, they kind of played on like the time aspect a little bit to like
Mhm.
Mm.
represent the misogyny more. Because at the beginning of the movie, I honestly thought I was like, oh, what time period are we supposed to be in? With even like
Yeah.
the cart and stuff, and how like the oranges were set up. I've never been to a supermarket that just has like, the oranges like that.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. Like, yeah, it gives very like nuclear family kind of vibes.
yeah, exactly,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. All right, go off, Savannah.
Thank you.
All right, you guys got yours?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's hear it, Nick.
While Companion doesn't bring much to the table of AI that we haven't seen before in the likes of her, iRobot, etc. It's really nice to it's really nice and haunting to see. Well, it's really nice to see misogynists get their due while also depicting such prevalent issues in modern romance.
Mhm.
Yeah. What do you got, Bill?
Sorry, can I go last?
Yeah.
I gotta make sure my punctuation's good here on my sentence. I'm gonna do my Rotten Tomatoes like my blurb, my like critical consensus blurb, because I actually like both the things that you Nick and you Savannah said. And I kind of want to articulate my thing. If you have something, Ryan, I don't know if I'm putting you on
Yeah,
the
I
spot.
could go. Mine would be misogynist, bad, feminism, good.
Mhm.
Good job, Ryan.
Wow.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah. You guys were very profound with yours, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make mine very simple.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
feel like in this movie, like if I don't know if I can describe it well, but I feel like it has less to do with like AI, and that's more like
Mm,
a tool, because I feel like sometimes
yeah.
people don't feel as connected to like a misogyny problem unless there's like another aspect to it, because at its core
Mm,
it's really just about like women, and I think like the robot part is more just to get you attached to it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's definitely not like an AI problem. It's like a nice guy problem. You know what I mean?
Savannah, what you're saying is Iris is just a companion to a greater message from the movie?
Exactly. You get it.
There we go. That's the sentence.
wow. Um. All right, I'm pretty proud of this. This is my you know, this is my New York Times letter to the editor. All right, ready for this? It's pretty good.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Pretty proud of this guy. While not treading much new ground in sci-fi horror, the proof is in the performance of robotic feminist piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Here we go.
That was good.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good sentence. And
But
I want to
also,
say, oh, go on. Oh, Bill.
oh, sorry. Oh, no. You do your thing, Nick. I have an interesting closing thing that I want to pick your guys' brain about maybe.
Okay.
But
I
yeah.
just want to compliment Savannah on her input for this episode and also what you just said. I know I made a really corny joke about it. That was not to discredit the seriousness and authenticity of how much I
Oh.
agree with you.
Oh yeah. No. I totally get it. Yeah. Thank you though.
See, Nick is really a nice guy, folks. And companion taught us anything.
No.
There's a really good screen grab from this movie where I think I want to edit it almost, where it's Jack Quaid holding the gun. And like I kind of want to I'm gonna play around with that in Photoshop later. But Sorry, I'm gonna be Jack Quaid and Nick is gonna be Patrick. Anyway, but
The implications of that now are wild.
wild. Yeah, it's wild. It's
Love it.
wild. It's wild.
Oh
Let
my
your mind
god.
run wild. Have you guys ever seen not slept on, but I actually think it's really, really good. 1970s movie, The Stepford Wives. You guys ever seen this movie?
I've never
Mhm.
seen it, but I have heard of it. I've never seen it though.
This
Yeah.
movie owes this movie companion owes a lot to that film. I'm just gonna go out and say it.
Mm.
I was sort of permeated. Sorry to illuminate you guys if you guys have never seen it. And this is explained pretty early in the movie, and then it's like, what are we gonna do about it? You know, type situation.
Mm.
Met a couple moves to a town, right? And the town is like seemingly pretty normal, except for the fact that there's like weird routines the woman in town follow. And if you can see where I'm going with this, um,
Mm.
all men that move to town are either forced out of town or introduced to this club, which more or less uh, uh, their wives are replaced with a robotic duplicate.
Oh.
Hmm.
And it's that follows their command and everything. They kill the wives, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Or they
okay.
are like sent away, or like they're like disposed of. It's bad. It's really bad. It's pretty tough, honestly, for a 70s movie. And I mean, obviously, right there's a lot of comparisons, between this movie and Companion and everything. But of course, the great part about the Stepford Wives is that a coalition of women that are not robotic, right? That like are
Mhm.
still human and still alive, are like something weird is going on because like people are suddenly acting like they aren't who they are anymore. And
Mm.
I honestly thought that movie would be a great movie for a remake, and it actually was remade 2000s, and it was really bad. The remake was really poorly done.
Mm.
But the original 70s one is very, very good. And features a lot of really honestly really great imagery, a lot of shocking stuff, and is tough. There's a money shot at the end of the movie that's really, 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 really good, but I don't want to spoil it because I think you guys deserve to see it.
Mm.
Hmm.
Also, yeah, yeah, no.
Okay.
I thought about this movie quite a bit, and about the movie quite a bit, and I haven't seen a lot of discourse on it. I honestly haven't been looking for it, but
Mm.
it is very similar in that way. Based on the book
Okay.
too.
Leaving us with
Anyway,
a movie to watch. Very
Yeah.
quick
yeah.
comparison. Mm.
I would say that. I would say that once again. Sorry, Stepford Wives is a thriller rather than a horror movie.
Hmm.
And even though that premise might sound a little hokey on the surface, perhaps in some respects, it's played incredibly seriously. There's not like much humor in it at all. You
Yeah.
know, it's like the men of the town are very Illuminati coded, almost like secret society coded. It's very
Mm.
interesting. It is worth your guys' time. I don't know if it's a movie that we would want to cover, but yeah.
I want to mention how you said about how the remake isn't good
Yeah.
because it's directed by Frank Oz.
Yes. Yes.
And just Frank Oz's filmography, like in terms of as a director, is insane.
Real highs and lows from my memory, but
Yeah, and if you don't know who Frank Oz is, he's a puppeteer. He
the
puppeteered
Muppet
Yoda.
guy. The
He's a
Muppet guy.
Muppet guy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, very interesting choice of who would direct the movie that you just talked about, Stepford Wives.
I know, right?
Like
Yeah.
that.
Why would
That's a big choice.
I would
It's
say
also
that? Yeah.
go on. Yeah, well, I was just saying it's labeled as the 2004 version's labeled as a comedy.
Yeah, that's the tough part about it. That's the
And
tough
it
part
stars
about the film.
Nicole Kidman and Matthew Broderick and
They're
Bette
pretty
Midler.
huge names. Pretty huge
Yeah.
names, but yeah, no. Yeah, spoiler alert. It's bad because it's played as a comedy. Because I'm not gonna lie, the premise itself is kind of crazy, but
Yeah,
it
it's pretty
does
dark.
that's pretty dark. Yeah, it's pretty yeah.
Yeah.
I would say is
All right.
yeah.
So what's the original?
Nice. Well, so thank you everyone for listening to this podcast. Thank you, of course, to Savannah for being here. You brought so much to the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, of course, to Nick and Bill for being here. Thank you to Skippy. And, honestly, we haven't decided what we're going to do next week, so it's going to be a bit of a surprise.
Mhm.
You should have already seen our podcast on Exuma, which if you haven't, check it out. I think our discussion of it was very good. And if you haven't seen Exuma, you should watch it. Savannah, you should definitely watch Exuma. If you haven't, that is one that you would really enjoy.
Yeah, I should.
But yeah, on that note, always remember, don't be a soy boy or a misogynist like Jack Quaid.
So real.
Preach.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.